Other gym owners out there are struggling, but they know that this is their passion, just fight for it and see through it to the other end, because it does get better if you really put the time in and fight.
Good morning. This is Eric LeClaire over at Push Press, and we are continuing our In the Trenches series. This morning, to be joined by a friend of a friend, and I say that because Jacquelyn Chastain is here today, and she had a chance just about 2 years ago to pick up the reins and take over a gym. And for some of you that have been listening or watching this series, we discuss leadership, we discuss coaching, we look at individuals' growth from trainers to coaches, coaches to general managers, and general managers to owners. Some individuals, they grow up in someone else's gym or they have a chance to explore fitness, but the moment comes when they have the ability to take over. And today, this is an opportunity for us to kind of explore that story. Not only is Jack in charge at the gym, but she also happens to be married to a Fresno police officer, and maybe most importantly, a mother of three, a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 10-year-old. So we're going to hit a bunch of those different facets from mom, from wife, and most importantly from gym owner today. For those of you watching, you may resonate with who she is. But nonetheless, Jack, thank you so much for your time. How are you?
Yeah, thank you. Good. How are you?
Well, thank you. So for those that don't happen to know you online or with your Instagram presence, let's walk back to the beginning. How did you end up finding yourself in fitness?
I've always been into sports and competitive. I did soccer for 12 years, all the way up through my senior year in high school. And then I've always just been kind of into fitness and doing my own thing. And kind of a little pause in the moment there is when I had my first son. I was 19, so I was just out of high school, a little bit into college, and that kind of slowed me down a little bit as far as being really active in the sports, because now I was in motherhood, you know. So after my first child got a little bit older, you know, a little bit after 1 or 2 years old, is when I started looking for a gym to train at. And I just happened to stumble upon the gym that I found with Kevin, and my husband and I tried it. First day we got introduced to CrossFit, and the energy that we felt that day and the community that we were wrapped in from day one, we just absolutely fell in love with it. So we just joined that day, never looked back, and we were members ever since. So then that
What year was that?
That was all the way back in 2012.
Okay. So, and that was Clovis. That was in
Mm-hmm.
Clovis, California.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So from there, that basically pushed my competitiveness back into my life, because then there were the CrossFit competitions. So I really loved doing a lot of the local stuff there, and that kind of motivated me to keep up with the fitness part too, is having something to compete in.
So was FTF Clovis kind of a dual facility? It had a general physical preparedness track for fitness, and it also had a little bit of competition to it as well?
Yeah, correct. So I when I signed up, I immediately went into that competitive track. So on top of doing classes, I was also training with Kevin on top of that for competitive CrossFit style stuff. So yeah, I just kind of dived right in. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
So was your husband already a law enforcement officer at that time, or was he using CrossFit and the methodology to prepare himself?
It was kind of both. So he was already an officer. He signed up. I think he graduated the academy in 2008, I want to say. So he was already an officer. But he used it to stay in shape and to, you know, stay active and be able to have, you know, that fitness on the job too.
Right. That makes sense. So now you marched yourself forward a little bit in time. Was there a deep side as you were becoming competitor, working closely with Kevin, both the owner, the head coach, the guy that was doing programming? Did you ever think that you were going to be in charge one day?
In the beginning, no, because my upbringing into, you know, being a CrossFit coach and being a trainer and doing all of that was actually Kevin planted that seed in my head, was like, you should coach for me. I was like, nah, I can't. I don't know anything. You know, I'm going to school to be a teacher. He's like, don't worry. I'll teach you all of that stuff. You have the personality and you can do it. I'll teach you. So I was
Awesome.
like, all right, I'll trust you. So I let him kind of take the reins, and he mentored me. He taught me everything he knew, or as much as I can remember, because he talks a lot. But I picked up a lot from just him mentoring me. And then that's when I got certified through CrossFit Level 1. And then I went and did the USAW training as well for weightlifting and loved it. Felt very prepared going through working with Kevin already for a year, and then into my certifications. I felt like I had a good understanding, and that kind of gave me the confidence to really jump in. And I quit my school job. I was working one-on-one as a autistic needs like aide for a third grader, and I did that for 3 years. So I found myself wanting to be at the gym more and wanting to coach more. So I ended up quitting at the school and just jumped right into full training and did it full time from there.
And what year was that?
That was in 2015.
Okay, so full time coach by 2015.
Or actually, no, 2013. Yeah, it was a year later. Sorry,
Wow.
2013. Yeah,
Okay.
I jumped right in. Yeah.
Kidding. You jump in with education, and you jump in now with coaching. I love it.
Yeah.
2015
was
already.
Yeah. A couple years later, 2015 is actually when I started kind of doing more of the business side of the gym and managing and kind of running it a little bit more on that end, and becoming more of a part owner with Kevin. And so, it didn't take long, but it's kind of like when when it's something that's developed into a passion, it's an easy decision to make to go all in like that.
So did you spend time, I mean, obviously at home, you had your husband working shift, you had kids that were growing up, budding passion and like potential on the horizon. Were there ever any struggle points between you and your husband about roles, parenting roles, financial roles, more time at the gym, less time at home? Were there any struggle points there?
Yeah, definitely, especially in the beginning, and we still go through it sometimes now too. But yeah, the main struggle was spending enough time with my family, because a lot of times the job took me away longer. And financially, it's not a secure job. You don't really go into the gym business thinking you're going to make $1 million or, a lot of money. But, you do it because it's a passion. It's because you love to do it. And that's where you get the reward from, is helping others. And so we had our conversations of like, look, I know I'm not making as much money, but it's rewarding for me. It gives me a purpose, and so that's where kind of the line has been drawn, of like, I'm not giving it up. I'm not walking away from it. I'm going to keep fighting for it, make it work, because that's how I see is my only choice, is I'm going to fight for it. And if it's not working, I'm going to fight harder, because that's my only option.
Right.
So no matter the ups and downs of financially or spending time at home or whatever, we always just kind of make it work,
Good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Because you took over in 2018, was there any formal lead up to that transition when Kevin was like, hey, look, you're going to be starting to be groomed to be owner? Those roles change. I mean, you think about being client to competitor to intern coach or assistant coach to now kind of a general manager. And we know managers top out with roles and responsibilities. Really the only next thing is owner. So when was that discussed before 2018?
I think Kevin kind of all along knew that was the route he was trying to take with me, looking back. And he was always really great with communication to the members of who's coming into the gym, who's taking over, saying, his goodbyes and his blessings and all that stuff. So he was really, really good at communicating that transition. So the transition itself from me taking over was very smooth, because I just started taking on more roles. I started being there more. He started kind of backing out a little bit more. So the members that were coming in were starting to be, the newer members who only knew me. They didn't really know Kevin at the time. So the transition was very smooth. And I think it was done really, really well.
Awesome. So you had a chance to maybe take a handful of coaches with you from the old model now into the new model, and we'll jump into that, to the coaching piece here in a second. You did not keep FTF Clovis as the name. What did you change it into?
I changed it to LivFit Training, and that kind of comes back to my purpose in training is to have people live their best life through being fit enough to do so. So live fit, and I spelt it that way without the E because my daughter's name's Olivia and we call her Liv. So live fit.
Cute. Love it.
Yeah.
So what in the vision or the mission or the purpose, if you were to look at the structure of the business as its own entity, what changed? Did anything from FTF change to LivFit, or did you take with you some of that same energy and purpose, or did you overhaul everything? Brand new mission statement, brand new direction. Was it a 180 change, or did you kind of smooth it over time and now it's become yours?
Yeah, so the main thing I took and kept with what FTF was about is the community aspect, of course. He built a really great, strong relationship with all of his members, and that's what I wanted to carry on with my business model, is to be present and for people to know me on a more personal level, and to build that strong community from within so that there's respect, there's trust, there's, honest people in there helping each other. And the other stuff that I changed was more on the business side. It was more of the structure of how are we doing memberships? How many options are we offering? The pricing of all of those. And so it was just more of the business side of stuff.
Where did you learn that? Or how did you recognize that needed to change when you became the new owner?
A lot of it was just hands-on experience, just getting feedback from members as well as I was making that transition of hey, I know these need to change, just hearing the feedback from members of what they wanted. Playing around with a few different ways to do it. And then I've kind of just over time dialed into what works and getting rid of what doesn't. Right.
Because obviously the FTF offerings versus the LivFit offerings are completely different. And you have segregated yourself or differentiated yourself in the market. You offer 24/7 training, or I stand corrected, 24/7 access in addition to having your training. So if I'm a brand new in the area and I'm looking at all the different opportunities or gyms in the area, you stand out because there isn't very many of the competitors that offer the same service, correct?
Correct. Yeah, there's not very many of us out there. Or if there is, there's a lot of, jumps and hoops that you have to go through to get it. I make it very simple. I try to give people what they want, and I try to listen. And, I'm very open-minded as well. I think it takes a gym owner who is very secure in their training and themselves to be able to also offer open gym on the side and have that be okay to go on during class as well. I know a lot of gym owners that I've kind of interacted with are very against, you can't be in here and train while I'm doing class. You can't do any other programming that I'm offering. So I think in that way, I, as a gym owner, have a very open mind. I'll try anything once. If it works, it'll stick. If not, I'll get rid of it, You're
flexible enough to at least assess for then make the call, and you just make it objectively versus invest emotionally.
Yeah, 100%. That's another thing that I've learned along the way too, is you can't take things personal, or, you're going to be too stuck in your way. Yeah.
So one of the reasons why you were selected both for our case study for gym owners that both lead by example and for in the trenches today was that there was a post made about some tremendous growth. And I don't want to skip over the family portion, so don't let me forget. We'll come back at the end.
Okay.
But COVID has really jammed up gyms. And, you took over in 2008. The gentleman that I sold my gym to took over in 2019. From owners, you guys are still in the infant stage of, you've been there, you've been GMs, you've been coaches, but as of 2018, it fully rests on your shoulders. And here you are, no less than 2 years later, hammered with something pretty tremendous. It shut down Southern California. It shut down 75 affiliates. And you're not only successful in staying in business, but you're thriving with hundreds of new leads for a myriad of different options. You got to walk us through that. So what did you do? How did you figure it out, and how did you execute it?
So going back to offering what people want, right? A main part of my gym now is the 24/7 access side. Not a lot of people offer it. And right now, especially during this time where everything else is closed down, people are looking for things to do, or looking to get back into the fitness world, or, just get their health back. So they're out there looking for gyms. You just got to put it out there like, hey, I'm here. We offer this. Come check it out. So I'm also very fortunate to live in a city, Clovis, who's we're a little bit more in our bubble with the whole COVID enforcements. So there's a little bit more lax on what's allowed. So we've been able to.
For our audience, Clovis resides in what county for California?
Fresno County.
California, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a little bit lax as far as enforcements and what's going on here. So we've been able to, we have our gym open and been taking new memberships as normal, running business as normal. And the only ads that I've been doing is just posting free posts, on my feed of, hey, we're open, this is what we offer. And because people are looking and there's not many global gyms that are open, that's who we're getting is the GB3s or the Planet Fitnesses of the world that are not open right now. Those members are looking for a place, and I offer something that not a lot of gyms offer. So it first started off with okay, we're getting 50 to 100 new people in. All right, this is cool. But now those people are all referring their friends and family, and the referrals have just tripled, quadrupled, and I don't see any time of it slowing down.
That's amazing. So, so on one hand, I remember someone in the mentorship space saying, everyone always asks for 100 new leads. What happens if I show up with a bus tomorrow and bring you 100 new people? Can your systems, processes, staff, and programming, your facilitation of your programming, can support 100 new members? So here you are living that exact example of gyms are closing, clients leaving, coaches are losing their jobs, gyms are shutting down, owners are literally losing their lifeblood. You're on the flip side, you're handling hundreds of new people showing up. How did you facilitate meeting them, interviewing them, getting them on waivers, selling them on memberships or closing them on memberships, then introducing them to your group environment? How did you do that?
Yeah. So the easiest answer is push press, honestly, because I am able to, my current members are actually selling my memberships for me because they use the link, to get people to sign up. So they have access to the link. Their friends are signing up without even coming into the gym. They're signing up. So I'm getting all of the emails of so-and-so just bought an open gym membership. So that's where I go in for the follow-up on the email is, hey, so-and-so, I just confirmed that you got your membership in. Let's schedule you a tour of the gym and get you started. And then we schedule tours with one of my coaches or myself. They come in, we introduce them to the gym. They already have their membership filled out, their waivers filled out, all of the paperwork's done online. So it's a fast, easy sign up for them. All that's left is just get them into the gym and have them start working out.
Wild. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And recognize that you right place, right time, right attitude was in place. You had all of that done pre-COVID. So here you were slammed with something that knocked down so many other gyms. You just simply employed what you already had and knew how to do.
Exactly.
Now reaping the benefit because of that. Totally not a shameless plug for push press, by the way. But that lucky and impressed to have you inside of the push press community. Go back to the mom piece, and that's so impressive. You've got a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 10-year-old while growing him a few hundred members. They are at home, obviously, via Zoom or via whatever platform they have. How are you balancing your time between growing the gym, managing the gym, and being mom?
Yeah, my family is a huge help. My in-laws, my parents, my sisters are all in town and close by. So I lean on them a lot for watching the kids, getting them set up on their Zoom if I have to leave during that time. So they have been really just my lifesaver of the home life and keeping that running smoothly for sure is just having that help to watch the kids, because I wouldn't be able to do it without them, honestly.
Right. I mean, it obviously takes a team for sure.
Yeah.
Kids love and trust, and they know the family, so that's kind of an easy transition. Dig deeper. What about you?
Yeah.
What about fitness? What are you doing to maintain your own serenity or your own like peace and calm in your head?
Yeah. So I try to carve that hour of working out for myself, because that's what I enjoy. Anyone who knows me from the gym probably won't think it's true, but I'm a huge introvert. You know, I love peace and quiet and being alone, and I'm quiet. Like, I'm a shy person. But the gym kind of brings out my personality a little bit more. So not a lot of people understand that about me, but I love my alone time. So I like to work out alone. I like to have just quiet time or go get coffee by myself. Like, that's how I recharge. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do, is make that time, even if it's just an hour, just get that break, you know, or you start to burn out. And I've been through that before, and I'm trying to learn from that, is just to know when to back off a little bit and delegate more.
Speaking of that learning lesson, particularly the learning lesson for your own self, being in charge now 100% for, you know, going over 2.5 years now, lessons learned. If you were to talk to your own self back in 2018, what would you share with the brand new owner? What would you tell her?
Stay connected with your community, because I've tried once of being that owner where you delegate too much and you let the coaches run it a little bit more, and the clients don't see you as much. So then what starts to happen is the environment changes a little bit, and you start to lose a little bit of what you're trying to create there. You know, the type of space you're trying to create there, it comes from you. So stay connected, no matter how much of an owner you are. Stay connected with the members, because that's your lifeline there for building the community that you want.
Excellent reflection.
Yeah.
How about on the side now, 2.5 years in, what are you the most proud of?
Being where we're at now. So being able to take on as many members as we have right now. And I think from the last time I posted, so we were at 315, right? When I posted that comment, we're at about 344 now, a week later.
344 members a week later.
Yes.
That has to be weird. I mean, we work with gyms that have a few hundred members, and I think there's like 1 or 2 outstanding gyms in the Midwest that are like approaching 600 or 700 members. But what's impressive about yours is the spike in growth, the ability to hold that line. I'm going to invite you back. We're going to have a round 2 on this in the trenches. We're going to come back in like 6 months, because that coin sided, right? The first side is the growth, and then the second side is, you know, offering of service and retention. So like 6 months from now, I want you still smiling and happy and like.
You're just gonna be like, oh.
If you're crying and you're like, we shut the gym down, then we have to have a bigger discussion. Awesome.
No, I honestly don't think it's slowing down anytime soon. I actually just am about to have 3 high school teams joining us as well next week. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for reminding me. Talk to me about your staff. How are you going to handle 3 high school teams?
Yeah, so I have just hired on, I have 2 coaches now helping me, and they're taking on majority of my classes now. So that has freed up that time for me to do more of the back end stuff, but also continue to grow the business where it needs to grow, and it's growing. So yeah, we've got 3 teams coming in, and we're just picking out times where it's least busy for them. And one team has their own strength coach that's going to come in. So it's kind of, so I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I also, as a business model, besides offering open gym, I also lease my space out to other trainers to do their personal training as well. So they're kind of taking on that role of being with their trainer, renting the space out from us to use the space for their training. And that's kind of where we're at right now, is getting them into a time that fits their schedule and it's not so busy. Do
you think you were able to secure those 3 teams based on the CIF sanction adjusting fall sports, or was this a relationship you guys were working on before COVID?
It was a relationship because of COVID shut down the schools and they can't train
Got it.
at their location. So they're kind of just making it, hey, you can do this on your own. It's not required because of the whole school thing, but they're all on board to come and train. And we've got some serious athletes who have their futures ahead of them, who are kind of riding on them still being in shape and active. So, life doesn't just stop for them. They have to keep doing what they're doing for their future as well. So yeah, they're itching to get in.
I don't remember, does Clovis sit in CIF Northern Section for California or Southern Section? Do you know?
No idea. I
remember there was a huge frustration down here. So obviously we're CIF Southern Section, and with the fall being pushed back, there was a huge amount of coaches that were like, now what? We're lost. We don't have access to our facilities. We don't have access to our normal calendar. We've lost the motivate. Like, they had to do a huge emotional and physical turnaround for their kids. I'm really glad that this goes back to the, and this is a huge accolade to you, right place, right time, right opportunity. You sat poised to capture this. You were not pouting that you were being affected by it. You took advantage. And look, we will help facilitate. You will arrange a rental rate. You can use our facility, bring your team. You're solving a lot of people's problems, not just for gym financially. You're solving, you're giving home to these kids, which in turn, we change the lives of kids. We help impact the school. We also help their family because they know they're taken care of. Their kids are really cared for. So that's huge. That's huge. Good job.
And thank you. It just goes back to my purpose in doing all of this in the first place is to help people. It's I don't do it for the money, or a lot of things would be different.
Obviously showed up. I mean, that's you.
I think
breaker for you.
Yeah, for sure. And the fact that a lot of them are saying too that a lot of my members have just expressed, I don't want to go back to a GB3. I don't want to go back to a regular gym. This is exactly what we've been looking for. And so to have validation in that, not only are we just solving a problem, but we're doing it right. We're making sure that they're getting what they need out of it and that we're giving them the customer service that they want out of it. So we do have that retention side on the back end. So if things start opening up again, they don't want to leave. So,
right. And that's perfect from a business standpoint. That's you kind of skirt that relationship of, do I offer this with the intent of that? So here you are offering, an excellent bridge between what they had and what they could have if they stay with you. And on that bridge, moment in time to showcase for them your service, your character, your integrity, like your personality. And as they walk along that bridge is inevitably going to end, and they're going to have to make a choice. And if you've impressed upon them all the right things, they stay. Forever.
I love it. Now is not the time to think that you are set because you have the numbers now, and so you can relax and let go of, being on top of your game. Now is the time to really show them what you got. Yeah, for sure. So.
Well, speaking of, our audience is comprised of just over 1,000 gyms. Some of the gyms are struggling. We recognize that each state and subsequently in each state is getting hammered in different ways. If you could use today's platform and communicate to any struggling gym owners or struggling coaches, struggling trainers, is there any words of inspiration or any message that you would like to deliver today?
Yeah, if it's something that you truly deep down in your heart really want, fight for it. Don't give in the towel. I'll disclose this probably back in October-ish of last year. I was ready to throw in the towel. I was like, okay, my lease is going to be up in March. This is the time, this is my sign, because we weren't doing so well before last year, and I was almost to that point of having that conversation seriously, like with my members, like, hey, that we might be closing down if something doesn't change. But when I had the conversation with my husband, he was like, well, what else are you going to do? I was like, you're right. Like, I'd probably just do personal training, a small group here in my garage or whatever. But I was like, you're right. What else am I going to do? I'm not going to go get a 9-to-5 job. That's not it's not me. It's not my personality. This is what I want to do. So things kind of started turning. Yeah, things started turning around with me fighting for it and me really wanting it and making it work and telling my husband I'm gonna make it work. Whatever I got to do. So a lot of hours went in, and that's when I was kind of alone too. I didn't have coaches. I was by myself, running the gym, coaching the gym, everything. So that's when I kind of felt that burnout, but I knew that this is what I wanted. So I kept fighting for it, because I didn't have a choice, So I feel like if other gym owners out there are struggling, but they know that this is their passion, just fight for it and see through it to the other end, because it does get better if you really put the time in and fight.
I love it. What a fantastic message. If folks were inspired by our conversation today, how can they find you online if they want to circle up and ask some questions, or if they want to follow along your gym, or they want to follow along your own personal journey? How can they find you?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram, LivFit Training. I think it's LivFit_training. And we're on Facebook, LivFit.Clovis. Those are our main two platforms that we use to communicate. We also have a website, LivFitClovis.com.
Fantastic. Right on. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you've got a gym. I know you've got a husband. I know you got 3 kids.
Yes.
So I appreciate the time you've carved out for today.
Of course.
Your leadership and your ability to shine and solve problems has been spectacular. I'm very serious. 6 months from now, we're going to have part 2, and you can share lessons learned over the
I'm
holiday.
all for it.
I love it. Right on.
Yes, pressure's on. All right. Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, make sure you like our channel, subscribe, and check out our other videos right here.